A few weeks ago, I attended a really good friend's celebration of life. She was only 54. And even though I was surrounded by people that cared for her as much, if not more than I did, I noticed something about myself. I found that I wasn't just sad, I was angry and I was scared. If you've ever found yourself in a situation like that, this video is for you. Hey, this is Chuck with Midlife Resilience, and this channel is built on an idea that midlife is not a decline. It's not about losing something. It is about being a turning point. And that turning point, when you run into grief, can be really, really hard to navigate. Hey, if you're new here, please subscribe. I put out content once a week, and we're glad to have you. Here's the thing about grief in the middle of our lives is it's not the grief that anybody really prepared you for. I mean, most of us grow up expecting to lose grandparents, but we don't really know what to do when we lose a sibling or a child, or when our identity shifts. We change our relationship status, or we have a career shift. My little sister Jody passed away last fall. She was only 15. She was my only sibling. And for a while, I did what many of us do in a situation like that. I tried to avoid the pain. I got busy. I got productive. I went to work and gave it everything I had. It's what many of us do, right? And I told myself that all of that meant that I was strong and I was able to handle it. But then a few weeks ago at my friend's celebration of life, it occurred to me that I wasn't being strong and I hadn't really allowed myself to grieve, not fully anyway. And in the bigger context, midlife grief is different because in my situation, I wasn't just grieving a person. I was grieving the loss of an identity and a future that I thought I was going to have. Now, here's what nobody tells you is grief is not the enemy of resilience. It's actually proof of resilience. I want you to think about that for a second. You simply don't grieve things that don't matter. You grieve the things that shaped you, that really made you into who you are, the people who helped build you along your journey. And you grieve leaving those things behind. Many of us in midlife, and I am very guilty of this, treat grief like it's a problem or that we can solve it or we can figure it out. And that's really not the case. It's something that you have to work through. It's a universal human experience, and each of us will do that differently. Grief, I think, also importantly, is a signal, and in the middle of our lives, it can signal to you what you want the second half of your life to be and to look like. But the important thing is you have to be still enough and get quiet enough to listen to it, to hear that signal. So I want to share with you 3 things that I've learned about grief in the middle of my life and how they can build resilience instead of destroying it. Number 1, grief lives in the body first. Now, when most of us, including myself, historically think about grief, we think about it as an emotion, sadness, crying, the weight of it all. But science has actually proven that grief is in the body far before it's in your emotions. Now, I'm sure many of us can attest, and I certainly can. When my sister died, I thought something was wrong with me. I knew that I would be sad or feel sad, but it was more physical than that. I had a hard time sleeping. My appetite was all over the place. Either I didn't want to eat or I wanted to eat everything in sight. I had brain fog, and I really thought something was wrong with me. What happens is you have a really big increase in your cortisol levels, which is basically your stress. And the rise in cortisol levels physically interfere with your sleep cycle, with your appetite. It suppresses your appetite, and it also can lead to cardiovascular issues. In fact, there's a Harvard study out there that shows that you're twice as likely to have a cardiac event within the first 24 hours of suffering an acute loss. All right, number 2, name it before you numb it. Now, if you watch any of my other videos, when I talk about emotional intelligence, I talk about the pause and then respond method where you name the grief. Because what happens is when we suffer any kind of loss, whether it's, someone passes away or we lose a marriage or we lose a job, we do what most of us do, and that's we try to numb it. We work harder, some of us turn to substances. We try to basically outrun it and outhide it. And that works for a little while, but eventually it's going to find you and it's going to compound. So here it is in practice. The next time that you feel that need to distract yourself, to grab your phone, to doom scroll, to numb the pain in some way, I want you to pause and I want you to name the feeling, but do it in a very specific way, not just I'm feeling sad. You want to do it more specifically. So it could be, I miss my sister's voice, or I'm feeling lonely, or I'm afraid. Naming that takes its power away and it gives you something to work with and not just run away from. You can schedule your time with grief. You can plan to journal, go for a walk, do whatever you find works best for you, because grief is not going to go away. It's just going to sit there and wait. All right, number 3, grief wants company. Now, one of the most dangerous things about grief is there's going to be a voice inside of your head that tells you to isolate, and that's very dangerous. Grief, especially in our midlife, when we have almost been trained, self-trained to handle things on our own and to be the strong ones and to handle things by ourselves. When it comes to grief, that's our default. That's where we first think we need to go. That relational depth pillar that we talk about here in Midlife Resilience, that's why it's there, because studies have shown that real, honest, vulnerable connection with people that you were close to is the best path to recovery. Not willpower, not motivation, not trying to hide or to numb the pain, but to share with people who want to help carry that burden. You will be surprised how quickly people want to help you carry what you're carrying. You were not built to carry grief alone. No one was. And letting people in is not a weakness. It's actually the most resilient thing that you can do. Now, before I get into the last piece of this, if any of this is landing with you, please subscribe. That helps the algorithm find the people out there who need this, who are going through something hard right now and can make a difference. Here's something really cool that got to me, and that is when I was doing a lot of research on this, I learned there's something called post-traumatic growth. And that is where when something traumatic happens to you, people can actually grow exponentially from the experience. Not in spite of the grief, but actually because of it. There was a study done by the University of North Carolina that showed that people that do what's called deliberate rumination, which is where you sit with the grief, you're deliberate with it, you don't try to avoid it. They showed measurable increases in different things like meaning of life and physical strength and relationship quality within 12 months of suffering a major loss. That really landed with me personally because I tried to outrun it. With the stuff that I've been through in the last 4 years, there have been times I've tried to get away from it and hide from it, but that only leads to burnout. It doesn't work, and you have to go through it. Okay, so here's your challenge for this week. I want you to find 20 minutes and I want you to unplug. I want you to sit by yourself, sit in a room, get quiet, and just sit with whatever it is or whoever it is that you're grieving over. And when those feelings start coming up, I want you to name them. And after you've done that and you've completed the 20 minutes, I want you to then think about that one person that I mentioned, and I want you to call them and I want you to share how you're feeling. My friends, grief is not the end of the story. It can be a catalyst. And remember, resilience is something that none of us are born with. We have to work on it every single day.